Hello, everyone. This is Live Life Well TV host Robert Landau. We're back with part 2 of this special edition of True or False. Why so special? Because we are honoring through trivia the worlds of geography and history. So stay tuned. Are you ready for part 2 of our trivia tribute to geography and history? And if so, here we go. By the way, if you haven't seen part 1 of this special 2-part series of True or False, go and look for part 1 on this channel. This can stand alone, part 2, without part 1, but you might be interested in doing that as well. But let's begin with part 2. See how you do. True or false? In Europe, in the Middle Ages, the majority of people worked on farms. True or false? In Europe, in the Middle Ages, the majority of people worked on farms. That happens to be true. True or false? Emperors in imperial China typically had many concubines. True or false? Emperors in imperial China typically had many concubines. True. True or false? Every U.S. state has received snow in the 21st century. True or false? Every U.S. state has received snow in the 21st century. That is true. And with the weather as crazy as it is and has been and probably will continue to be, it's not too difficult to believe that that is actually true, which it is. True or false? Turkey is a part of NATO. What do you think about that? True or false? Turkey is a part of NATO? This is true. Next up is this. True or false? Moscow is the most populous urban area whose name starts with the letter M. True or false? Moscow is the most populous urban area whose name starts with the letter M. True or false? That's actually false. Manila, Mexico City, and Mumbai are all larger. True or false? The Rio Grande is located on the border between Mexico and Texas. True or false? And I think you probably know the answer to this. The Rio Grande is located on the border between Mexico and Texas. True. Oh, yes, true. True or false? Most of Greenland is covered by an ice sheet. True or false? Most of Greenland is covered by an ice sheet. True. True or false? The highest mountain in the United States is located in Colorado. What do you think about that? True or false? The highest mountain in the United States is located in Colorado. You might have guessed or known that that is not true because Denali in the United States is its highest mountain and is located where? Alaska. How high is Denali? Well, get this. It is no less than an astounding, mind-boggling. That was going to be both of those words in one, astounding. Hey, I think we created history here. Somebody call Merriam-Webster. But this is how tall Denali is, folks. 20,310 feet. That's tall, don't you think? True or false? Crimea is located on the Caspian Sea. True or false? Crimea is located on the Caspian Sea. False, because Crimea is located on the Black Sea. Next up is this. True or false? What do you think about this one? Lagos is the capital of Nigeria. True or false? Lagos is the capital of Nigeria. It's false because Abuja, Abuja, replaced Lagos as Nigeria's capital back in 1991. True or false? Indonesia is more populous than Vietnam. True or false? Indonesia is more populous than Vietnam. True. Yep. True or false? The Cayman Islands in the Caribbean are an independent country. What do you think about that one? The Cayman Islands in the Caribbean are an independent country. True or false? That happens to be false, and here's why. The Cayman Islands are a British overseas territory. Next we have this, true or false? Austria is landlocked. Think about this carefully. True or false? Austria is landlocked. True. Next up is this, true or false? Tanzania is on the east coast of Africa. Tanzania is on the east coast of Africa. What do you think about that one? Could that be true or could that be false? True, false, true, false. The answer to that happens to be true. There you go. True or false? Columbus was the first European to sail to the Americas. True or false? Columbus was the first European to sail to the Americas? Actually, that is false. The Vikings actually did it first. True or false? Gunpowder was invented in China. True. Next is this. Egypt, Jordan, and Syria have all invaded Israel. True or false? Egypt, Jordan, and Syria have all invaded Israel. True. True or false? The Nazis occupied Greece during World War II. What do you think about that? True or false? The Nazis occupied Greece during World War II. True. The Germans invaded Greece and Yugoslavia on April 6, 1941, and overran both countries within a month, despite British aid to Greece in the form of an expeditionary corps. Greece itself was occupied and divided between Germany, Italy, and Bulgaria, while the king and the government fled into exile in Egypt. True or false? An aristocrat living in St. Petersburg, Russia in the 1800s would be expected to speak fluent French. What do you think about that one? An aristocrat living in St. Petersburg, Russia in the 1800s would be expected to speak fluent French. True. And before we go any further, I would like to acknowledge jetpunk.com for a lot of the information in this episode. Next up, true or false, the Incan Empire lasted for over 2,000 years. True or false, the Incan Empire lasted for over 2,000 years. Well, if that doesn't sound true, you know what? It's not, because it lasted for less than 200 years, not over 2,000. True or false? Ireland was colonized by the ancient Romans. True or false? Ireland was colonized by the ancient Romans. False. Ireland during the period 1536 to 1691 saw the first full conquest of the island by England and its colonization with Protestant settlers from Great Britain. True or false? Most scholars now believe that Shakespeare did not write most of the plays that bear his name. True or false? I'd really be interested to know what you think about this one. Most scholars now believe that Shakespeare did not write most of the plays that bear his name. What do you think? Well, it's an interesting answer. It's kind of true and kind of false, and here's why. Many people doubt that Shakespeare, who grew up in a small rural town called Stratford-upon-Avon, would have access to the education necessary to write plays as detailed as supposedly he did. There are almost no surviving records verifying Shakespeare's existence, many historians say. There are a few letters and bills addressed to him, but only a handful of signatures written in Shakespeare's hand. Shakespeare's will, written a month before his death in 1616, doesn't mention anything about his plays or sonnets. It also famously left his, quote, second best bed to his wife. But see, even that information is kind of contradictory. So there may be no surviving records verifying his existence, but there's some sort of a will. And there's some signatures written in his alleged hand, but there's no record that he actually, or no proof that actually he wrote those plays. But you know what? It's a controversial topic that is still going on to this very day. As a matter of fact, I think there's even a charity that you can donate to for the ongoing research required to see if he actually did, first of all, was a person, and second of all, if he wrote those incredible plays. Stay tuned. True or false? Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, was influenced by Beethoven. What do you think? Bach was influenced by Beethoven? If you think false, it's true, and there's a very good reason. Bach died before Beethoven was born. True or false, California and Texas were once part of Mexico? Well, if you happen to live in these parts, you'll probably know that to be true. True or false, humans were partly responsible for the extinction of the dinosaur. True or false, humans were partly responsible for the extinction of the dinosaurs? False. The last dinosaurs died approximately 65 million years ago. Although the cause of their extinction is still a mystery, a controversy, climate change, diseases, changing plant communities, and geological events could all have played a role. A recent explanation, supported by many current-day scientists, suggests that dinosaurs died out soon after a huge meteorite crashed to Earth near the Gulf of Mexico. Two more left before we close. Here's the second to last one. True or false? China fought in World War II. True or false? China fought in World War II. It's true. Historians say that World War II actually began on July 7th, 1937, not in Poland or at Pearl Harbor, but in China. On that date, outside of Beijing, Japanese and Chinese troops clashed, and within a few days, the local conflict had escalated to a full, though undeclared war between China and Japan. Obviously, with Pearl Harbor and Poland and such, things escalated to the point of a world war after that. Finally, true or false, photographs exist of a very old George Washington. What do you think about that one? True or false, photographs actually exist of a very old George Washington? The answer to that happens to be false, and here's why. Photography was invented after George Washington died. So, with that said and done, this brings us to the close of our two-part special True or False series on geography and history. Hope you had a great time. Hope you learned some stuff. I sure did on both counts. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host.